Dear Lord in heaven, you know better than these people know that I'm not worthy to stand on your behalf. But in your grace, you have ordained that one weak and feeble should speak in your place. Disappoint us not. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, generally, the world is controlled by families. The whole world is controlled by families. And the families control governments. So they create dynasties. So if you are in America, you know that the Rothschilds will control the country. They will be the thesis and the antithesis. They exist on the both sides of the spectrum. They can decide that this time people are frustrated, they want a Democrat, they'll give you a Democrat. And if they think people are excited, they want a Republican, they'll give you what you are looking for. If you are in South Africa, the Stellenbosch Mafia and the Oppenheimers will pull the strings. These are things that you already know. If you are in Russia, you've got Putin and his group of oligarchs that will sit at the table and decide what is going to happen if they want to create a scenario where the weapons are too much and they want to dispose those that stockpile that remained during the Cold War between 1945 and around 1993, then we must start a war that destroys everything so that we can start on new ones and propagate. Then we can decide what will be the world in the next years. So they will write up and decide how the world is going to look like several years from now. They will say in South Africa, they now need independence. Says, yeah, everyone around has independence. What do? We give them independence, but we create a big middle class of people who are always borrowing money. So the economy is dependent on us because everyone lives on a drug that is called a credit card. Then you have an illusion of riches, but in reality, you are borrowing. So they create all those things, and generally it's dynasties of families that perpetuate themselves, whether the Rockefellers. You get, for example, that Bill Gates will be said he's the third richest guy in the world, but he owns less than 7% of Microsoft. Now, he owns less than 7%. Who owns the 93%? And what is that person worth? So you've got all these rich people that are all paraded rich, but they own a small percentage. Zuckerberg does not own more than 10% of Meta. So who owns the rest? And what is the worth of that guy? I'm reading a book called The Rothschilds Women. The women from the Rothschilds, how they made. We already had the blueprint. God. Players are also decide there's blue blood. You can't mix the goats and the sheep in all these things. So they create a meritocracy that's very deliberate, that's very unapologetic, but very silent and very unassuming. We sit there and we feed from it, as it were. And as we are growing as Adventists, I think when we set an agenda, the Jewish agenda, there are about 22,000 Jews in South Africa. They will control the whole economy while there are 22,000. There are more Jews in USA than there are in Israel. And when you are campaigning to a president in the USA, if you do not put the Jewish agenda on your table, you are gone. Zelensky is the president of Ukraine. Go and research. He is a Jew, but he's the president of Ukraine. the first female president of Mexico is a female Jew. But how many Jews are there in the world? All the Jews in the world are less than 12 million, right? We are more in population than them. Because people sit down and plan and set an agenda. It just doesn't happen. It's an agenda of hunters. So I want to just speak about hunting. Last time in Kariba, I spoke about hunting. So I extend it again and speak again about what? About hunting. Then we can have Vespers, the Vespers of hunters. So just tell someone next to you that is the Vespers of hunters. So Abraham is sitting there in the Ur of the Chaldeans. Ur of the Chaldeans, that's where present day Iraq is. And God calls Abraham to move away from the Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of what? We are all, I'm preaching in front of pastors, so you forgive me if I made some of the cheat theology. You can resurrect it when you take over the pulpit. So they are moving from the area of the Chaldeans, and then he settles in Haran, and Terah dies in Haran. He takes the son's brother, the son of his brother, Lot, and they proceed to settle in the land that was going to later become Canaan. They're settled in the plains of Mamre. On the side there is Sodom and what? And Gomorrah. So they are prospering. They prosper so much. They prosper so much that it was no longer possible to stay together because of prosperity. These ones, they did not separate because of poverty. They separated because of what? They prospered so much that it became necessary to separate. So Abraham is a rich man. So when he goes, Lot is captured. At some point, 5 kings came to capture. Then Abraham took the servants that were at his house, his servants. They were sufficient to build an army that went to defeat 5 kings. You know, that's how wealthy this guy was. He wealthy? Was he wealthy, church? So this is a wealthy guy. So he's got so much wealth that he's an envy and a marvel for everyone. And then he wants his son to get married. He sends 10 camels. 10 camels are like the Rolls Royce of that time. So he sends a convoy of 10 Rolls Royce to go and seek a wife. Never by chance, out of a deliberate move to look for blue blood. You just don't get any blood. The DNA must speak to the product that is supposed to be produced. So he sends this convoy of 10, and on the convoy there is gold, there is silver, there is myrrh, there is cloth of all different type. And when they get to the well, they are looking for a woman who is not interested in gold, but who is interested in feeding camels. Come on, church. There is an option for gold, but she's interested in giving the camels water. That's the DNA. That's the DNA. The DNA has nothing to do with what Abraham has. It has everything to do with what she can do for the camels. So the message goes on. Then the woman feeds the camels, and the camels, lo and behold, are fully fed. Follow me closely. You might get lost. I'm talking to hunters. Then she comes on, and when she's coming, she saw Eliezer says, "There is my master." As soon as she heard that this is the master, she quickly alighted from the camel and knelt down before the master. The DNA is speaking. She knew that she is now in gold, but she did not forget about kneeling down regardless of the gold. Come on, church. So she knew her place is not changed by gold. She knew she's not elevated by God. By gold, she is elevated by God. The G is the same, but the suffix is different. So she was aware of her destiny is determined by God, not by God. They, lo and behold, they stay together. Isaac is 40, she is around 19. They have got an age difference of 21 years. They start staying together. Years later, and that is where our sermon began. Genesis chapter 27. And I'll read in your hearing. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim. Isaac was old, but he was rich. All the inheritance of Abraham belonged to Isaac, very wealthy. So that he could not see. He got old and he could not see. And he called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, my son. He said unto him, behold, here I am. And he said, behold, now I am old, and I know that the day of my death is near. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, thy bow, and go to the forest. Take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. So, this rich man has got a lot of cattle in his yard. He's got sheep in his yard. He's got camels in his yard. He's got goats in his yard. Now this rich man has got servants who can go and defeat an army of 5 kings. This rich man. He's got gold in his yard. And he wants to eat. This rich man wants to eat. And he wants to be served some food. This rich man. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a rich man. This wealthy man. And he wants to eat. And he is old. And he is about to die. And the sons know if he dies, it's a given. What he owns is ours, but for the eldest, what he owns is mine. The rich man is about to die. Then he calls his sons and says, my son, go and get me a goat from the kraal. Is that what he said? No, but he has a memory of the grandfather who took a fattened cow for the strangers. My son, we are fattening cows. Go and bring me a fattened cow. Okay, my son, I have servants. Can you send one of the servants to hunt on your behalf? What, my son? I have options. There are a lot of people who do the things they do because they have to. Isaac instructed his son when he had options. Most of us, we act out of lack of options. This man had options. No, you're not hearing me. There are people who came by road because they had to come by road. But there are some who came by road when they could fly. They had options. Some can go into Air Zimbabwe, and some can go through South African airs. Some can charter a plane. If you see the one who can charter deciding to jog, it's not for lack of options. This man had options. So when he said go and hunt, it was not for lack of options. So he says, my son, I want to eat. Now, when you eat meat from a sheep, it's called mutton. And from a bull, it's called beef. From a gazelle, it's called venison. So it says, I want some venison. The order is very, very clear. Tell my son, I'm not looking for buffalo. So when you are going to hunt, you are not going into the forest. If you meet a buffalo, you have not yet started hunting. If you meet a kudu, that's not what they are looking for. They didn't order something else. They ordered a specific one. And if you are hunting the most alert of all of them, the most agile of all of them, the most nimble of all of them, the smallest with the chance of being missed is a gazelle. And he says, I'm a rich man, but I can't bless a son who can't hunt. How do I bless someone who cannot hunt? I can't bless them if that can't hunt. If my son cannot hunt, I got no blessings for him. Because he could have said, no, daddy, I can get from the crow. He says, you can bring it, but I can't bless you. My blessing is for the hunter. I can't bless him if he can't hunt. Well, how can I bless someone who can't hunt? If he is going to hunt from my crow, what is that benefiting me? You have groomed sons that hunt from your crow. And you take pride to us, telling us, my son is well, he's going to do well from your crow. From your crow. That's why they are spoiled. How can you catch a fish, put it in a pot, ask your child to start fishing it? So the son goes out hunting. And hunting is not child's play. So the father says, before he says go hunt, he defines the weapons. Take now, my son, your bow, your arrows. Take now, my son, your bow. Take now, my son, your quiver. Then go out hunting, my son. Now you don't understand hunting unless you had gone hunting. I grew up rural and I know what it means to hunt. The tables can be turned against you by the animals you are hunting. So hunting is not just going to go and then the gazelle is waiting and saying, oh, you are hunting. I was here. Hunt me. Your dad wants meat. Yes, hunt me now. No. The animals are not like that. One of the things that my grandmother would be discouraging us to is to hunt. We would do it out of naughtiness because it actually had casualties of hunting. So this man is going to hunt. And by my wild imagination, right in the forest, he meets a wild pig. It's not on the menu. And the gazelle already is alert, it is running away from the lion. And everything in the forest is disorganized. They do not have a tracking device where you know where to find them. But the father is sleeping at home. He does not define how hunting is done. He says what you learn by doing it. We don't learn by being told how to do. We learn by doing it. I can tell you not to climb the mountain straight forward or to go in the way round and round. But the only way to climb a mountain is to actually climb it. If I explain to you, then what does it benefit you? There are people who have spent many years coming from SI, still afraid of going out to hunt. I want to promise you, the animals are not waiting. They are difficult to hunt. They are difficult for everyone. There are people who think there are some people who are hunting from the crow. Everyone is going into the forest. Equally difficult for me and for you. It's easy to know, and this is funny, my brother pastor, that when we used to hunt, when we started sharing, there was always a psychological knowledge that your quantity of share is determined by something, but you would know that this is enough for me. The share, you would know that this is sufficient for me. If you get just the head of a whole could, you know it is sufficient for me. Either there was a dog there, or you were shouting close, or you ran away, or you saw us when you were coming back. Your share is determined by the events around hunting. So sometimes you go to someone and say, I have a proposal. What they give you is their perception of your hunting methods. So you say, no, he gave someone better than me. No, they appreciate your methodology of hunting. That this one wants to hunt from the crow. This one knows how to go out to hunt. They know it. Don't even argue. They will know it. Because hunters know it when they are speaking to other hunters. When you start being dramatic about hunters, hunters will know this one doesn't hunt. The hunters will become not too many stories, but you can know when they hold the bow and arrow, they shoot straight. So there were a pack of hunters. Alone he went. There are journeys where you need to go hunt by yourself. Alone he went. Right in the middle of the forest he went. Did he call a servant? No. Did he have an option to call? Yes. But this is the father's duty. I cannot call other people for my father's duty. Come on, church. When you are called to build at your church, don't look for committees. Alone on your father's duty. Alone on your father's duty. Days are gone when we want group work for God's work. Alone on my father's duty. Alone. These guys want group work. Hey, they are not also building the church. Build it alone. They are not doing this. Why? Why are you looking for group work? What group work? Christianity is not group work. Group 1, group 2, group 3. What group? Bow and arrow. Quiver. Out to hunt. There the man goes looking for the venison. I just look for venison. In his mind. Because his brother cooked goat. The father could not distinguish between venison and goat. So he could have equally caught something and cheated. But I am looking for venison. Daddy said venison. Daddy said venison. There is another little one that runs across the road. No, Daddy said venison. A kudu is running towards him. No kudu today. Daddy can eat kudu. Today, Daddy said venison. And he hunts. And when he catches, puts the venison. People thought he got blessed and things worked out. No. There was a coronation that had to come. And tonight, I give you a challenge. That don't let them just inherit. You know all these wills that you write, he will get this, you get this. The hunters will come and hunt from them. Most of you are wealthy from the things that you got from the people who were already there with them. Because they don't know how to hunt. You know how to hunt, you hunt them away from them. That's why everyone says, I grew up in the rural areas and blah, blah, blah. Where is the guy who didn't grow up in the rural areas? Why is he not here? testimonies of those who are growing up in the royal. What about the one who was not in the royal? What happened to him? It's because you hunted from that guy. Now you are preparing kids that will be hunted from also. Mark my words. Mark my ways. When those from royals will be speaking many years from now, they'll be asking where your kids are. You're asking them, what happened to them? It's because you are explaining too much. Then I did this and they are seated there and they are saying, wow, it's worked out for me, worked out. Go hunt, my son. I want venison. What's the risk? The risk is that Esau may not come back. He might not even come back. So when Isaac is sleeping on his bed, another version says he was crying tears that peradventure a wild animal is going to kill my son. But he said, if I can't cause him to hunt, then I would rather have a dead son who went out hunting than a living one who cannot hunt. I would rather have a dead son who went out hunting than a living one who can't hunt. God bless you.